Hello, I am David W. Parker, and this is Programming Today I Learned React Series, Episode 20. We're going to be looking at Flowtype. Flow is a static type checker for JavaScript that Facebook has open sourced and put out. It uses type inference to find bugs, even without type annotations, and it tracks the type of variables as they flow through your program, thus the name Flow. Concept you should know is if you install Flow or have Flow already installed, you could do Flow init, and that'll create your Flow project and establish a Flow config. Here we have Flow config with one line that I've added. We normally have ignore section, include libs and options. You get to use regex here if you want to explain things. But right now what I'm saying is for any CSS file we're going to use empty object. I had done an npm install empty in addition here. And the reason for that is Flow will not recognize importing CSS out of the gate, so we need to have that to recognize CSS files so they can ignore those. So we have an app here. We've got a couple different components here, message and timely. The timely example and the message example are from the Flow documentation. And what we're going to do is we're going to look at here what happens when we just run this program. And you can see right now we have an uncaught type error, cannot read property get hours if undefined, and we just have one component here for timely, and as you can see it has some require components here, and then it has this get hours, but we're not providing the props with a date, and so it explodes. So this is where Flow comes into play, and what we can do is we can stop our server here and write Flow, and this sometimes takes a little bit to start, sometimes it doesn't. Just depends on your computer. Generally stop your server before running. But now we can see with Flow, it sees that the timely element doesn't have the property date. And you can see it's just not found. It tells the excited and the name. So we can go ahead and go back here and we can say, here's the name, and save it, and then run Flow again. Now that the server started, that's a client server for Flow, it'll be a lot faster in seeing that. So now we know the name is provided, but the date and excited is still not. So if we go ahead and do it once again, finally we can see that date is the only property not found. Finally, if we just go ahead and display here and we run it, we're not going to have any errors. So when we do npm start, we start up the server again. Let it load. You can see it says good evening, John. So that's really nice because the static checking just makes things a lot faster. Now we can go back and check out message as well. Here we're going to have a missing message string, and here is the message. So now we have no errors. A couple of things to note that I didn't point out to you is in order to have a file checked by Flow, you need to give it this Flow annotation at the very top, just within a block comment at Flow. So all of these have at flows. If I decided to suddenly remove, if I went back to this guy and I commented out and had the bad message, you see it's an error, but I removed the Flow annotation from the message.js, there's no errors anymore. So in order to have it checked properly, you have to have that. So one really quick thing, you can see that here we have a functional component, whereas here we have an actual class. It works with both. You can see that it works with default props, so the default props here is 2 for times. Just make sure you add a question mark. And the way it works is for each of these annotations you have a colon and then the type that it's expecting here. And for prop types it just works based off the actual type, so it could be date, string, or boolean, and it understands that respectively. So that's kind of the simple way that we're going to look at this. I'm starting a new series on flow types that's going to be replacing the immutable JS series, which is now finished. So we'll go in more detail in that series over there about flow. If you like what you saw today, please subscribe, like this video, share it on your social medias, and if you really like us, then you can go ahead and subscribe to my newsletter on ProgrammingTIL.com. Thank you and have a great day.